I got the chives planted in the two front corners, and I got the oregano planted in the two back corners. It's getting late in the day. Probably only about maybe a half hour to 45 minutes of light left, I think. Mosquitoes are tearing me up. They usually don't bother me. With all this rain, the bugs are extremely bad. So I'm not going to be able to do that great of a video on me planting these onions. But this isn't about the onion garden, this is about the herb garden. If you need to see how I planted the onions, go and check out my starting an organic onion garden video series. I think there's like maybe 4 or 5 parts, but it's the same thing. Get your onion bulbs and you just plant them with the stem up, and the roots will grow out from the bottom. And you put these approximately 2 to 3 inches below the soil. In the videos I did on the onion garden, I was saying to plant it with that stem sticking out of the soil. You really shouldn't do that. You should put them 2 to 3 inches below the soil. Also, if you plant onions from seeds, you can grow them that same year. And if you plant them from bulbs, you can eat them that same year. And either way, with bulbs or seed, the onion will not go to seed until the second year. And after the second year, you can let it go to seed and you can collect the seeds, or you can just leave some. Like this year, I'm planting them in the ground, and I won't, at the end of the year, I'm not going to harvest all of them. I'll leave some of them in the ground. That way they get an early start next year, and some will go to seed, and then I can save the seed for future use. So I'm going to get started on planting these and get it done as quick as I can. Oh yeah, another change in plan. I'm always changing my ideas, changing my plans. Instead of putting all yellow onions here, we really don't use that many yellow onions. We use a lot of red and a lot of white onions. So I'm going to put red onions between 2 cages down at the far end, white onions between 2 cages down at this closer end, and then yellow onions in between 2 cages in the middle. Okay, changing plans again. Middle section where I was going to put the yellow onions, the dirt's too clumped up and I can't plant them, so I'm going to have to wait a few days, see what the weather's going to be like. One weather forecast is saying severe storms tonight into tomorrow and possibly for at least the next several days. Another weather report saying rain tonight into tomorrow, and then it's supposed to be sunny and clear for the next few days. So I gotta wait for the soil to dry out more and then get out the mini cultivator, and if it starts again and keeps running, then I'll prepare that center section for the yellow onions. I'm going such a fast rate here trying to hurry up, record at the same time and multitask that I forgot to plant the last row of the white onions, so I got to put those in. So here's a wrap up of the herb garden. It's practically complete. There's a wide angle view of it. So for today I got the chives planted, the 2 front corners. They've already sprouted flowers and they're getting ready to go to seed. So this time I'm going to let them drop the seed so that clump will get a little bit bigger on both ends. But then the following years I won't let it go to seed anymore. And when it first gets the flowers and they're nice and fresh, that's when I eat them. That's when they taste the best. If you don't get them within the first few days of blooming and they start to dry out and they start to lose flavor and get a little bitter. This is the oregano that I put in the 2 back corners. And oregano grows back every year by itself. So do the chives. I mean, you can just trim them down at the end of the year to 3 inches and they'll come back the following year. And then there's Roma tomato, green bell pepper, another Roma tomato, green bell pepper, Roma tomato, green bell pepper, and Roma tomato. So I don't know, I'm not planning on putting anything else in here. I gotta save space in between and around everything for growth. So I gotta have a walking path going through the center and around everything. So hopefully next year I can get a fence up around this, and then I won't have to have these little cages unless they're needed for support. But with peppers and tomatoes, you definitely need cages for support, or a trellis or an arch, something they can grow up on like a vine. Alright, I'm getting tore up by skeeters. That's it for this video. Catch y'all later.